North London Red and London Blue found out that 5 goals scoring is not such a bad thing. And they reminded their fans that the good times can come back after some good finishing practice in training. This is One Kick from Glory, and we're back. And we're going to discuss some of the good results this past week and some interesting things happening in the world of football. And I'm joined, as always, by Craig.
Yeah.
And Matthew.
What's up?
And we're going to start off with that game at the Bridge, a 5-0 win for Chelsea over Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, take them through to a final, potentially Pochettino's chance to win glory and lift the trophy in England. But Matthew, how are you feeling after Chelsea made it through to the final?
I'm happy at the way that they did it. I wanted more, not just like a result, but like a statement win. Like after the first leg was like really, really poor, missing all these chances. I mean, credit to them. They took the home ground. They took their chance. They took their odd chance that they had, and they sat back and defended fine. But what I wanted is something that I got. I wanted goals in the first half, like a statement, like let's punish these guys and show that we mean business. And that result last time ain't gonna happen again. And that's exactly what we got. Cole Palmer's on the sheet. The team selection was great. Most, if not all, players kind of turned up and did Pochettino proud, getting him into. He was desperate to win a trophy in this country. Getting to a final for such a young team is exactly what I wanted, and I think exactly what this team needs as well, just to kind of give them a bit of confidence and showing that they can be rewarded, that they can do something. And they've been rewarded with, a cup final, which is, I think, one of 2, maybe 3 of the targets this team has got to be doing. They've done one domestic final. I would love to see really them go for another one in the FA Cup. After we should we get past Aston Villa on Friday and potentially pushing up that Premier League title, which is a big ask. But that those transfers, that money we've spent has got to show from somehow. So the first step is kind of getting there, and I think the players they were brilliant. Cole Palmer, brilliant. Enzo was brilliant. Caicedo was brilliant, and even when the substitutions, they were spot on at just the right time. We just nullified anything that we did, and we took our chances. We learned our lesson from the first leg, and we punished with multiple goals. The tie was over for the first half, which is exactly what you kind of need in this kind of situation where you just want to get the tie home and done, and we got some more goals to show for it. So roll on the final. Whoever we get, Liverpool, Fulham, I think it's going to be a good final, and I think the lads are going to give a good account for themselves. So I'm happy right now. I'm pleased.
Yeah, it was definitely a good account. Obviously, you did beat them 6-1 at home, so that's kind of important to get that momentum going. I guess, Craig, when you look at it, obviously they got an own goal in that match, so they did score 5 goals. They got one extra one. But when you look at that as a result, how important do you think it is, especially in light of, as we've said about Chelsea, like the targets they need to and the things they need to achieve this season? How important is this result, and how can they build on it going forward?
Only spent £1 billion, so they need to see money success with this investment. Simple as that. So it's a good thing that Chelsea. It's good that they won that game and they got to the final. Unlucky to Michael Carrick, unlucky to Middlesbrough as well. But at the end of the day, you have to show that if you're a big club, you have to show that what big clubs do: win trophies, not get to the final and lose the final. So Chelsea's next step is they got over that hurdle. They'll go to the final, win it. If they play Liverpool in the final, they have to go and beat Liverpool in the final. Because their record at Wembley is not that good recently. They've lost. I think they lost the last 3 cup finals in a row. So many 3 or 4 in a row. I know they're all FA Cup, but they're still finals. And they lost 1 League Cup against Liverpool as well. 2 years ago now. 2 years ago.
2022.
Yeah. So I think whoever wins that final, it's going to be an entertaining final.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big, entertaining one. There's been some kind of talk online about Mudrik's performance. The Midrick hashtag has come back again because he just feel like he's a bit of a mid-signing. But for you, Matthew, what are your thoughts on his performance in the last couple of games? Do you think there are calls for concern that he's just not quite kicked on yet?
We don't know what more we can do to try and get this kid from kicking on. He gets those brief flashes of like real kind of not greatness but potential and just so much skill and just vibrance, and then he sometimes almost like he fades to back at the moment, and it kind of feels like he's been bailed out by bar the result at Middlesbrough. He's been banking on the fact that we're getting some good results along the way. We've been winning pretty much all of our games, and I also think maybe he's falling down the picking order. Other players are shining, like Cole Palmer's coming through. Brozier might come through a goal here or there. Gallagher's had a decent game or so. He seems to be like he's out of focus or he's out of form or something's trouble. Something is on his mind that's stopping him really playing really, really well. He had a good, like a half decent little spell, but if he's not scoring, he's not performing, and he's not like he's had chances to play. He's getting starts. He started yesterday, and I think he started in the last leg, and I think he started in the game against Fulham. But mind you, we have had a long break, so maybe the fatigue has kicked in, and there's maybe just not been training as intense as it would have been. We didn't play for at least a couple of weeks, and no Premier League action for at least another week after this. We've got the FA Cup coming up. Maybe he might start there. So it could be a fitness thing. He could be just struggling with his fitness, but it's been officially a year now. It's been officially a year he's been at the club, and it's hard for me to say that he's hit the ground running really, really well. He's tried, with starts and playing under different managers, but after a year in the league, you like to think that he'd be doing a lot better than he actually is. So, am I concerned? If we lose more, if we don't get results in the next few games, I will be, especially if he's starting. So, I'm watching it at the moment. The results are kind of taking the hurt off just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one to be concerned about, because you look at how well Cole Palmer's doing. Obviously, with Enzo, it's been a bit hit and miss. He's had 2 goals, which was good for him, and showing that didn't have 2 goals. Got 1 goal, but his performances are kind of improving.
They're getting
game. So it's important for him to keep stepping it up. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Gallagher and whether he'll still be here come end of the transfer window, and we'll see, because I think he's showing the way he plays anyway. He's been such a crucial player for the team. He might not be the most flashy, but he's definitely been effective when he plays. So we'll see. And with Mudryk, obviously, with the price tag you paid for him, there was always going to be scrutiny over what he's going to do. And I think, understandably so, the fans want more. I think he as a player would want more as well. And it's just unfortunate it hasn't quite worked out. I say unfortunate, I'm kind of glad. Shouldn't have stolen him in the first place. But talking about stealing, or if not stealing, clever play, I'm going to move over to Brentford. Ivan Toney's return. We did say in the predictions that you both backed him to score. Didn't necessarily back Brentford to win, but that's okay. They forgive you. A nice 3-2 win. Tricky game. They made it very difficult for themselves. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy around Ivan Toney's free kick, and I've seen it everywhere, and I do think it's a bit over the top. But for you, Craig, first off, how impressed were you with Toney's performance, and share your thoughts on that goal?
10 out of 10 performance from Ivan Toney. I was at the game on Saturday. Very good performance. He lifted the whole stadium. When they announced his name in the stadium, everyone was jumping up and down, cheering him like the Messiah returned. He had his Jordan moment. Got the free kick, moved the free kick. But a lot of players have done that in the past. Free kick players. I mean, it's just Beckham used to do it. All the top players have done it. Who got a free kick, moved the ball a little bit more close to the angle for them to get the shot off. So he moved it to the right angle. He wanted to take the shot. So was it illegal? Everyone's done it. Players have done it. So, end of the day, that's the name of. If the referee didn't see it, he can't give it.
I guess the only issue then is VAR. Why didn't they flag it up?
They're broken.
VAR. We're talking about VAR, Clive. VAR in this country is the worst thing that ever happened. Honestly, other countries is much more better. If you watch African Cup of Nations, it's better. They know what they're doing. The powers that be in this country, man. We could talk about this for years and months and decades. So let's just leave that out. But on a serious note, Brentford had a great game. I think Toney and Maupay worked well together. They both combined together and scored a goal. Brentford got the nice 3-2 win. I think Brentford will stay up in the Premier League. I don't think they get relegated now. I think they got Toney back. As long as they don't sell Toney in the January window, I can see them picking up more points and climbing higher up the table. Maybe get a top half finish again, I feel.
Well, we'll get on to transfers a little bit, but that's good to see that Toney got the house rocking again and helped them get the 3 points. On the other side, if Nottingham Forest, I think for Nuno, he was visibly frustrated with the goal being conceded. Obviously, Matt Turner, the goalkeeper. What's interesting, obviously, Nuno was a goalkeeper himself, a very good one, so he would know how bad it is to concede a goal like that when it's gone around your wall and the side that they should be guarding should be protected. I guess for you, Matthew, when you think about it, as you have played in goal yourself, what are the things that you think? I mean, it's easy to say that he should have like readjusted the wall and been aware of it, but what do you think went wrong for Matt Turner in that situation?
He was just like, you want your goalkeeper to be confident in those kind of situations. You know, it helps to have someone like is a bit more commanding about exactly knowing what he wants, where he wants to go, especially knowing that this is a guy who's just come back from a very long suspension, who's going to be in that kind of moment. So any real pro is going to recognise that he's going to do something. He's come back from a thing. He's been off training with the reserves for God knows how long. He knows a few tricks, so he's going to come up with something that we're not going to expect. But it was just an absolute disaster how they did it. The wall was all kinds of wrong. The positioning was wrong. You couldn't see. He needs to be. It's like he almost like he couldn't see that it was coming a little bit. But even as a goalkeeper, your side, your strong side, you need to be going for it. So if it comes like near to your post, you have to be going and you have to be saving for it, or at least making contact with it. Which, you know, like we said, Nuno's would have had absolute words about that. But I just. It's just a lack of confidence, I think, in defence as the goalkeeper, or lack of confidence from the defence to the keeper, or just complete lack of communication as well. Absolute disaster, especially at that level at the Premier League. You wouldn't see it, even at like a Sunday league from as young as like, you know, kid level, grassroots. It's one of the things you make sure you do. Make sure that, you know, certain sides are protected. I can see the ball. Make sure your wall's nice and organised. Get people in. Like, you know, even something as simple as how high the players are. You know, there's a reason why you don't see the properly short ones in certain places, because that ball can move wispy quick. Like right here, a ball could get through nice and quick. So whoever's here has got to know that ball is coming and that the keeper can still see, because it's coming in, like, you know, best part of above 16 miles an hour. He's going to be ready, and the keeper's going to commit to, like, say, one side. Mainly his more confident side. You know, to me personally, it's this side, or, you know, wherever the hands goes. So they'll look at that again in the training ground. They don't expect to see the mistake like that again, because you won't. The keeper would have known that, defence would have known that, and Nuno would have known that. So unbelievable. Just
it's a kind of mistake you don't want to see at the Premier League level, or actually any level, to be fair. No. But on the flip side, what's also interesting for Nottingham Forest is Chris Wood and his goal scoring run. He's got 5 goals in 4 games since in a row since Nuno's come in, and he's been given an opportunity to play and start more games again. How important do you think it is for rhythm for players, especially strikers, when it comes to their goal scoring exploits?
He's a striker. You need to be playing more than one game and often back on the bench. You need to have a rhythm. I think Chris Wood, to be honest with you, is a very good Premier League player. He's got for what he's done. He played for West Brom. He played for Newcastle. He's played for Nottingham Forest. I think he played for. Those are 3 clubs I know he played for, and he's always scored goals in every club he's been at. He played for Leeds as well. He was at Leeds as well in the Championship. So he's always scored goals.
He's at Burnley as well.
I think Burnley as well.
Burnley as well, yeah.
I think it's at Leeds and Burnley. Yeah, Leeds and Burnley. Yeah, he's always scored goals wherever it's been. Every club, it might not be like prolific, like score 20, 30 goals a season, but he's chipped in at least 11, 12, 15 goals a season at least. Every club he's been at, maybe less than that, but he always knows how to score goals. He's good at holding the ball up. If you play good ball to him, he'll finish. I think Nottingham Forest have got a good team. I feel like they've got a great team. They've got some great players. I like Murillo, the centre-back. I think he's a good Brazilian centre-back. I think he's good. They've got that midfielder we're also going to buy.
Oh, Danilo.
Danilo, who looks like that was a quality goal he scored as well.
He scored as well, yeah.
They've got players like Gibbs White's a good player.
Alanga.
They got
Hudson-Odoi.
They got Awani, the striker, the Nigerian striker. He's a good striker, and they've got the guy that used to play for Liverpool up front, the striker. I hardly played for him this season. What's his name? Origi's on loan there as well. So they got
Aurier.
They got a good team.
Pros.
They got a good team. I think Nuno needs to work out his best 11. And once he works out his best 11, they need to stop conceding sloppy goals. And I think they'll stay up anyway. He'll keep them up this season, and then in the summer he'll do a massive clear out of what he wants and maybe just find out who he wants for this season, and then get them stay in the Premier League, get a first season in the Premier League, clear out the deadwood, and then build his own team like what he did at Wolves.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge, and hopefully he's given the time to do that. Obviously, we know this world, it's fast changing, and if owners have expectations that their budget doesn't necessarily meet, then you have problems. But we'll see how they do. Before we get into Arsenal, I'm going to talk about that game, but I want to focus more on the Crystal Palace half of the Arsenal match. Obviously, losing 5-0 away from home, it's never a good sign. The fans held up a big banner during the second half. And what I've found quite interesting is the response from the footballing world to Crystal Palace's protesting how the state of affairs are. And I find it weird how people, pundits, journalists are calling them ungrateful, saying that they should be happy with where things are. And I actually listened to and I read a couple of blogs by Crystal Palace fans just to get a perspective from their point of view. And the reality is that they have been criminally underinvested in. For the progress they've made over the years, they just don't do enough when it comes to transfer window to get that next push up the table. Crystal Palace should not be happy with finishing, 17th out of 20, just surviving, or finishing 15th. This is a team that should be having aspirations of getting top 10, top 8.
Getting to Europe.
Top 6.
Trying, yeah.
Or trying. That should be what they are, but they're not. And it's a shame when you think about, when you go back when they had Balassi and Zaha on the wings, and you were thinking, you're just missing a prolific striker. Never came. Then they tried with Benteke, flopped. And then you fast forward a few years, and it's like they're getting more pieces together. So even now they've got Eze, you've got Elise.
Edouard.
Then you've got Edouard up front, who's not prolific.
Mateta.
So but now the issue this year is more central midfield. They don't have that engine room because Gallagher was amazing on loan.
Yeah.
As soon as he went to Chelsea, that was it. It all fell apart. But for you, Matthew, how do you feel about that sentiment from Crystal Palace that they just have been criminally underinvested in and they've just wasted opportunities with good players over the years?
They're a fun club. They're a real fun, kind of saucy, kind of South London attitude kind of club. So with that kind of mind comes, you're surprised that there's an apparent lack of ambition in going for that kind of next level. And they're a great project, a great kind of blueprint with so many young and exciting players. They don't really have many old players. They've got a lot of young, exciting players who've got years ahead of them, lots of potential who are going to learn those kind of leadership skills and, take the club on, should be able to take on the club from the next level. Unfortunately, it didn't work with the likes of Vieira. It started off really, really well. I think it just, the results and maybe just losing their dressing room along the way didn't really help. But it's you know what it was? It's because they had someone not so much, they had Balassi for a while, but I think having Zaha for as long as they did, and I think letting them go on the free was a big mistake. They should have got something, a player that's able to play in the Champions League, which he is now. I think he was at Galatasaray. So the potential was always there. They didn't invest, and I think that's that kind of lack of experience or maturity in the football, in the transfer world, which really stifled them. If they got money, if Tottenham got money for Kane, bet your bottom dollar they would have got money for Zaha. Not as much, but enough to kind of spread in the team to find that one player in the middle, that engine, that heart of the team that would have taken them forward. You never know at the time because Gallagher wasn't featuring in our plans. So you never know. That money could have transferred into making Gallagher a permanent transfer or someone just like him, because, he wasn't part of the fold like he is now. And if they wanted to try and prize him away from us, they would be paying a lot more money, a money that they just don't have. They also, I think what they're doing they've taken on players like older Premier League players who have spent years at a club and haven't done anything to really warrant starting, like a Rob Holding, which is, if you're looking to, no offense, if you're looking to kind of progress.
Every offense, keep going.
If you're looking to progress and, try and fight your way up the table, you're not going to go for someone who hasn't been a great servant to the club, but someone who hasn't been you don't miss him. You've replaced him with better. They're doing going for the leftovers sort of thing. No, again, no offense. They need to be going for up and coming. Look at the other clubs around them are doing exactly that. Brighton, for example, are not going for second best. They might go for players who still have a point to prove, like your Milners and stuff like that. But they're getting in young excitement, like Ansu Fati and Mitoma
and Dahoud.
And Dahoud, yeah.
Yeah,
they're going for players. Villa doing it as well. Those kind of clubs are going around getting more exciting players that can push them up. Not has-beens. And all right, Roy he's good at being stable, but they're going to want that kind of energy back again. So I think their main problem was not. They really fumbled the business with Zaha. They should have got money for him.
Yeah, and they should have. And I think also when you think about last year, obviously Roy did a great job keeping them up. And I think a lot of Crystal Palace fans are very happy with that. But why did they give him another contract? It's not really against Roy as a manager. He's had an incredible footballing career. He's a manager who understands the club, knows what needs to be done to keep them up. But, with Vieira, it didn't work. Fair enough. They made the right decision getting rid of him. There's no point turning around saying Vieira should have stayed because he wouldn't have. They would have probably got relegated if they kept him for the whole season. But why give Hodgson a new contract and then not back him substantially in the windows so far?
Sense. But I feel like I understand what you said now makes kind of sense. Like they have been underspending on players. Like the two valuable players they got right now is Eze and Elise. Most likely Eze will leave. Most likely Elise will leave in the summer. They could command a big fee for him, maybe 50, 60 million. I had quoted it. Or he's got a £35 million release clause in his contract, but I don't know how true that is. But
Release clauses aren't binding in England.
yeah, or they can get top dollar from him. He's only 21 years old. It's a young kid. He can go to any of the top 4 clubs in the Premier League or top 6. It's that good. And he'll only get better. Eze is another one as well. Eze can move to another club. He can move to maybe a Newcastle or maybe a Liverpool or maybe even an Arsenal if we need a player like that. We can move to. Even Tottenham or whoever. Chelsea don't need him.
I think Spurs were looking at him at one point. Because I think Chelsea, we were looking at Elise. I think Spurs were looking at me, but they're the cash cows.
You did more than look at him, Matthew. You guys bid for him.
We did.
let's not try and downplay what he did in the summer.
He said no.
And he said, no, I want to stay at Palace. He signed a new contract. He would be a good. I think Elise would be a good strike player for Arsenal as a backup for Saka. Be a good little rotation between the both of them. But honestly, I feel that Crystal Palace need to invest in their squad. I don't know if the owners haven't got money, but they every season they step in the Premier League, they must get more money from the amount of money they spend. They get in the Premier League, so they must be able to give the new manager a bigger budget to spend on players.
I think it also depends on their ambition because if you take a step back and look at it realistically, for Palace's heritage and Palace for what they've been doing over the years in the Premier League, they should be in the table where Brighton are. And we should refer to Palace like we refer to Brighton. Villa is different because Villa are historically a massive club that underwent years of neglect and are now coming back to their best. Same with Newcastle. So those two I don't count. West Ham, again, that's 3 clubs I'd say have big history, years of neglect to different degrees, and are all starting to now, with the right investment, trust in the manager and the system, they're starting to flourish.
Yeah.
Fulham should be there. Even you think about Wolves when Wolves a couple of years ago when they finished 6th or 8th when they had that really great run.
And I think they got Europa League.
Yeah, you look at Palace, you think, why couldn't that have been Palace?
They could do it.
Like, Wolves came up from the Championship and already they're rivaling some of the best teams. And you think Palace and they've had some big results. Remember last year when they give Man City trouble?
And this season as well. Yeah.
So it goes to show that they've got something there, but their ownership group need to look at themselves and think, okay, we are neglecting this brand because you can't bank on the possibility of Everton getting another 10-point deduction to save you because it might not happen. Because looking at table realistically, Palace right now are in 15th on 21 points. Behind them are Nottingham Forest on 20 points, Everton on 17 points. Based on form, Everton, they've gone through 3 defeats and a draw. And then Forest had 2 wins and then a loss, and Palace had 2 draws, a loss, a win, and a loss. And they got Sheffield United next. So if you're Palace, you're looking for 3 points against Sheffield United on Tuesday. If not, this really could start to look a bit troubling because all it would take is 3 more games, and you really are in a big bad situation. So I think
we play soon as well.
I feel the problem with Palace, they don't score enough goals. The strikers don't get enough goals. All the chance that they don't score enough goals. Between Mateta and Edward was smashing goals for finding in Scotland for Celtic. Yeah. Since he come to England, he hasn't done anything. So I'm surprised because I thought him being a good striker was in Italy, in Scotland. It was just bad goals for finding in the Premier League. But it goes to show the level of the Premier League and the Scottish Premier League is the level is not this.
But it's also that fluency, because when he first came into Palace, he was doing well. Then when Vieira came in, he just kind of lost his place and never got it back. Obviously, this season he scored 6 goals from 15 games. Mateta's got 2 goals from 18 and 3 assists, and Jordan Ayew's got 2 goals from 19 appearances with 5 assists.
That's not good enough.
So for front forwards, I mean, look, it's not great. At Arsenal, we can't really talk, but it's really not great. But for that's the big thing. That's where they're lacking. I know they have looked at Eddie as a solution. I don't know how well he would do to contribute to that. Those numbers would be better or even worse. I don't know, but they need to figure something out and fast, because you can't stay up in this league without having goals. And yes, Eze and Elise are doing their bit, but you need more than that. You need to be good at the back. And unfortunately, between them, Henderson has just not quite worked out, not kept a clean sheet yet. He's had 5 appearances and conceded 11 goals. Sam Johnston's kept 5 clean sheets from 16 appearances, but he's conceded 22 goals. So it's not great.
But
leaky at the back.
But I don't know what's happened to Gabe, man. Gabe was such a good defender before. What's happened to him this season? He's struggling.
But even Anderson as well.
Anderson was struggling this season as well.
People are talking about Anderson making a move to PSG, the top teams, and I don't see it right now.
And Tyron Mitchell's their best defender, I thought, this season. He's been performing very well. He played very well against us the other day. Yeah. The right back, who played right back? Lefebvre Klein.
Klein, yeah. Klein shouldn't even be starting for them, let's be honest.
And
then the other option is Joel Ward. So that's the 2 oldies back there.
There you go, isn't it?
So they need to figure it out. And they got Chris Richards, but he never really
He played against us. He ain't
good. No. But then speaking of Arsenal, 5 goals at home. Looks like that Dubai training camp was very good. The shooting boots got unleashed. Gabriel Martinelli unlocking the Henry finish twice. Happy, Craig?
Very happy. We did say that Arsenal were going to win, but they're not going to win by that much. We did say, I think we said 3-0 last week or something like that.
3-0, 3-1.
I didn't know 5-0, boy. I was at work watching the game and I said, yep, after we scored the 3rd goal, I thought, yeah, we're cruising now. Then we scored two late goals. But that's good though. It's good that Arteta got a tune out of our Martinelli finally. I think him being on the bench kind of woke him up that week on the weekend.
I think he had a slight niggle.
And I feel like a lot of players need that. And I think a lot of players in the team need to be more, like, if they're not performing, they need to be dropped and then bring somebody else in to give them a chance.
Also, tactically, him coming off the bench against a tiring Crystal Palace who were hapless, toothless, and useless. It's not the worst option to have, is it? So I think that was quite good. And obviously, our set pieces worked out really well, getting the goals, 2 goals from a set piece, and then the rest from open play. I guess for you, Matthew, there's been lots of talk about Arsenal this year and what we're going to end up and how things are going to go. But how good is it for Arsenal to take advantage of a team that are struggling this year and put them to the sword in this manner?
It's a statement. It's an absolute statement. The last few games beforehand hadn't gone your way, like losses and draws, performances, like a bit of worry here and there, and like the striker situation. It was good for not just the performance, but the goals as well. You got like over 3 goals that's a proper statement in the game. Granted, they're there for the taking, but you still got to do the job. I feel like it's like a mirror image of what we're going through right now with Middlesbrough. But they were there for the taking, make the point and put the thing through. But you're fighting for, say, a Premier League title, which, you're still very much in. A lot of people really panic saying, oh, it's done, it's this and that. Look, it's mid to late January, we're only a few points off Liverpool, and granted they won their game against Bournemouth, but you have to keep pace with them. That's just what it is. For the longest time, Man City were keeping pace with you. Eventually, they overtook. You never know what could happen this season. But getting the goals again, especially getting the likes of Martinelli scoring again, because which what he was doing for fun last year, I think is vital. And more to the point is that you're getting goals from all around the pitch. The best teams, yes, they have that main focal striker they know they can rely on, but that doesn't mean that other players can't chip in. I mean, Gabriel is good. Centre-back Gabriel, anyway, is good for chipping in for the odd hit goal here and there. That one grotty win you got to go. I mean, if it was a grotty 1-0 win and that header was all you got, that's still very, very vital because you're keeping pace with the rest of the, the rest of the clubs. If you look at, say, Liverpool and Man City, they got goals coming around from all around. Haaland might not score and Salah might not score, but it doesn't mean that Cody Gakpo won't. It doesn't mean that, say, Rodri won't. And that you're kind of emulating that exact same sort of thing. So it's a good thing to kind of march on to your next game, depending on who you're playing next. But then the next team you play, unless they're in the bottom 5?
It's Nottingham Forest away. They are down there.
There you go. More. There you go. More for it. There for the taking. You know, they're lacking confidence. They can score. They're just not good at stopping them. And you've got players who can score. So the natural order thing is put them to the sword. Keep the pace. I mean, Liverpool aren't playing Premier League this weekend. Catch you. If you win, you pass them, don't you?
No, they are on 48 points. I mean, we both play next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We play on the Tuesday, they play on the Wednesday.
Keep breathing down their necks. If anything, I'll go for another statement.
Another 5-0 win with them.
I'll go for another statement. Put them through it. They're there for it. Do it. Unless you got, it might be a case of you having a winnable run of games, including the likes of, say, it'll be great if you had, say, Palace you just done, Forest, maybe, I don't know, a Burnley or something. I don't think you do have Burnley after that.
We've got Burnley soon. I've got Burnley.
But that run of games where you can make a point, where you can make a point, do it. Do it. You're coming. We've only got. I know it's January, but it's like what 4 months after that, and that'll go quick. Make the statement. Punish them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got Forest, Liverpool, West Ham, Burnley, Porto, Newcastle.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tough times ahead, but exciting times if all things go to plan, and we'll see how things go. I mean, I just want to focus on that man, Gabriel Martinelli. Obviously, I mentioned his 2 goals and his Henry-like finish. There's been a lot of debate about Martinelli from the very moment that he burst into the first team, as we picked him up from Brazil, and on his position. And there's a lot of fans out there that just think that we need to get him off the wing and get him in through the middle as soon as possible, because there's a goal scorer there who has that South American flair and instincts. For you, Craig, do you think that is an experiment we need to try at some point in this season, getting him through the middle? And how long do you think it will be before Arteta tries it?
Honestly, feel he should go through the middle now. I think that's what. I think he'll score more goals and he's more clinical than Jesus. I think he'll score loads of goals for Arsenal. It's like when Arsenal had Van Persie and we used to play him on the wing. And then he'll learn it from Dennis Bergkamp, a second striker, and he'll learn it from Dennis Bergkamp. I think he can learn from Jesus, his movement and whatever, but then eventually replace him in the team. I feel like Martinelli will score more goals.
If given run through the middle.
Yeah.
Jesus,
the guy can finish.
Yeah.
The guy can finish. The difference between Jesus and Martinelli can finish. If you put Martinelli one-on-one with the goalkeeper, more likely he will score. Put Jesus through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, you're oohing and ahhing if he's going to score. So I was thinking that the other day, I think in the next game, maybe start Martinelli through the middle, play Trossard on the left, play or Nelson on the left, and play Saka on the right. Try it out. There's some games that we're going to play like Burnley's of this world. You could try Martinelli through the middle. Some games you could just try it out. Because Jesus is going to get injured again.
I'll do it next game.
Yeah, I'll do it next game as well. Definitely.
I think it's definitely one to consider, considering the fact that it looks like we're unlikely to sign a striker this January, which is very troubling if we don't at least address our goal scoring front. So maybe putting him through the middle could be a solution to that, but we'll see whether we do that. And it'll be interesting. I mean, just in general across the league, there's been a noticeable lack of transfers from teams. It's been quite. And even Sky Sports are a bit concerned because they're going to have nothing to do next week on deadline day because they'll just be reporting nothing. But what do you think is the main reason for that, Matthew? And do you see that changing at any point in the next couple of days as we get close to Tuesday or Wednesday's deadline?
I think because of maybe, I might be wrong, I think the whole, what happened with Everton and what could potentially happen to other clubs, the whole FFP thing, a lot of clubs are just a little bit more wary of where they're putting their money. Obviously, the budget is getting much stricter in so many places, including football. Some clubs might feel like might not need it, and if they can, and also because it's for what they want, unless they really go hard for it, they're not going to do it. A lot of clubs are not going to do it. I don't think Chelsea are. I don't think they should go for it because we've still got so many of the squad to come back. The only way with Tony, it's only going to work if you pay them way over above. Plus, you're not the only club necessarily going for him. But it's a strange one. as clubs' priorities change? Are we trying to more sustainable? Are we not the only club trying a more sustainable model, or are there just not the players out there? Maybe it's a case that the players just aren't out there that they really want and are willing to, necessarily kind of pay for. I mean, what Werner to Spurs was a loan. What is it? Calvin Phillips loan to West Ham. Sancho's back at Dortmund. I mean, they're the ones I can name off. They're the most notable ones off the top of my head. I'm surprised, like your Sheffields, your Lutons, and even like Evertons and things like that aren't trying to go for someone just to get some goals back on the pitch.
Well, Everton can't really do much because they've already been charged with FFP. So why are they going to go sign anyone? That's just asking for trouble. They've got
Sheffield bought that player, Diaz, Brent.
Brereton Diaz on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, he scored the other day as well.
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. But normally, if a club threaten relegation, they're stacking them in. They're pulling in all sorts just to be like, come on in. Anyone that knows, can you kick a football? Come on in. Can you do this and stop a goal? Come on in, sort of thing. Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, I think my only guess really is that with financial fair play coming a lot stricter and the clubs getting punishments, with what's happening in Man City as well, that's an ongoing thing. I think they're just that little bit more, they're a bit more wary.
I'm going to throw a name out there. Where do you think this player is likely to end up? And that's Jesse Lingard. Free agent, so there's no transfer fee to worry about. It's just getting his wages negotiated. I know there was some talk about Saudi,
Everton,
but I don't think that's going to happen. Where do you think he's likely to go?
Fulham would be a good bet for him. Fulham or maybe a team near the bottom of the table.
And the club
maybe
can afford
Luton, or maybe
I was going to say Luton. I was going to say Luton as well.
Maybe one of the promoted clubs could take a gamble on him.
Like a 5-month loan sort of thing, and then he can.
Maybe Brentford could take a little punt on him. They'll definitely guarantee goals and assists at Brentford. Working with Tony, them two could work well together.
Could.
Palace.
That's a good
Could
one.
give Palace something extra, yeah.
Palace.
Yeah, he could replace Zaha.
Yeah, they need goals. I think they need that kind of a household kind of need that. Not spelled like a household name, but someone who can do it. I mean, he did it at West Ham. He did it at West Ham, so it didn't really work at Forest. Mind you, just wanted to be close to home, but it might be kind of like a redemption, like one last sort of thing for retirement, or maybe going to Saudi.
Yeah.
Bit of a save. Thanks Roy, shake hand, and they both go on their merry way.
That could be a good shout. The other option, of course, is Manchester United. You guys need help.
They stitched them up, man.
Yeah,
if I watched an interview how when he wanted to leave Man United a couple of seasons ago before he left on a free, he wanted to go on loan to Newcastle, was all agreed, and then Man United said no, and then Man United put a statement in the paper said he wanted to go on holiday for 2 weeks.
I saw that.
So,
crazy.
Scumbag behaviour, man.
Anyway, we'll come on to them another day. But just as we come close to close, Matthew, have you got a hot take this week?
I was thinking of one, just of how it's one club and how they've been doing and how they got I think a very vital result on the weekend, which could be massive, which could prove me massively right, or I know nothing about football. And I think it's a case of, possibly Sheffield United doing the West Brom in 2004, 2005, just escaping relegation.
Oh,
that's a very good hot
That
topic.
result against West Ham could be vital.
they have 10 points.
10 points, but I think they're only 3 away from...
7 away from safety.
7 away from safety. That can be done. It's been done before. Plus with Chris Wilder back, making those home games count. Because they've all got hard games, but they're home games. And the home game against West Ham, I think, is one where they're going to be really going for it. Because I think they led for a little bit. Didn't they score first? I think they scored first. I'm not sure.
I think they did score first.
Or they got an injury, and I think they were behind them and they got the injury time penalty.
They were behind.
They were behind them and they came back.
Yeah, they came back twice.
Home games are going to be, because they're not dead and buried. They weren't like Southampton were last year. Southampton were being dead and gone.
Yeah, they pulled the game back twice. So West Ham went ahead, they equalised, and West Ham went ahead again, then they equalised. So yeah.
Right, yeah.
So they came back. Their home games make them. They've still got big games playing against big clubs, but if they make those home games count, it's doable. Doable, because of all the three, against, was it Burnley and Luton on their home games alone, it's possible.
It's definitely going to be an interesting one to see how it all plays out, and we'll see if they can pull it off. I mean, they've got Crystal Palace away next, massive game at the bottom of the table, so we'll see whether they'll be instrumental in doing it. I guess we can probably call it a night there. I mean, just on a final thing, I do want to just bring it up because I think it's quite interesting for how the season's planned out. Not talking about the stuff in Italy. I feel like I'm sick to death of talking about that, the topic of players getting racially abused. The authorities over there won't do anything about it, and so we'll just keep moving on. But the Liverpool debate. Now, a lot of pundits, and some of them have egg on their face right now, did not see Liverpool having a chance of top four, much less challenging for the title, which is ludicrous if you think about how Liverpool ended last season. Now, I know that they had a really bad season, relative, but they ended the season really well. Yeah. And they've started this season like in one of the informed teams. Yeah. And I think they're going to definitely be up there all the way. Why do you think the media got it so wrong and they decided to write them off?
I think they got because the lack of experience. They got before like Henderson won of the league. They got the Solomon the season before. They got rid of the whole midfield got replaced in the summer. So maybe they thought Liverpool not gonna do well. But I kind of backed them this season to do well. I thought they got good young hungry players. I rate McAllister, I think he's a quality player. Sabri Osteloy, good player. Who else did they buy? Gravenberch, good player. They had Trent. If you have Trent in your team, most likely you're gonna do well. They didn't sell Salah to Saudi Arabia, so I thought, well, if they're not going to sell Salah, they'll do all right. Darwin Núñez, second season syndrome. Maybe they thought he wasn't going to do well, but he's done all right. He scored crucial goals for them. Jota, good player. He chips in with goals. Got Diaz as well, came up from injury, so he was scoring goals again or getting assists. So they got a good core of a team. So they kind of narrowed the age gap of their team, and you got Harvey Elliott doing well, Curtis Jones doing well. So they got a good starting 11 and a good bench as well, and they got some young players coming through as well doing well. Academy boys doing well. So that's one thing I like about Klopp, like he gives young players a chance. If you're good enough, if you're young enough, good enough, you're old enough, kind of thing. So yeah.
Lesson to be learned for other managers out there. Not going to say any names, but you know who you are. But yeah, I think it's definitely where they got written off. And yeah, when you look at the fact that they've got so many goal scorers in their team, Salah being the main guy, and then you got Jota will be number 2. Then you look at Núñez, who he can be inconsistent, but the guy is a menace. He never stops. And then behind him, you've got Gakpo. You know, they've got goal scorers all across that front as options, and that's what's helping them. And now you look at them, and they are top of the table with a nice 5-point gap over Man City, who do have a game in hand behind them. So they're doing well. They've got Chelsea next, massive game. We're not asking for much, Matthew, but you're currently in 9th. 3 points could get you up to 7th. That's all I'm gonna say.
On it.
That's all I'm gonna say.
We're in form.
We're not expecting much, but we're just saying, for your own sake and the rest of us, just, small favours go a long way.
Little bit. I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Talk to the boys.
Yeah, speak to them.
Yeah.
We'll help keep teams like Manchester United and Brighton and West Ham from advancing any further.
Fair enough.
All right.
That's our job.
Call that a nice
Do
little
your
deal
job.
there. And now we'll call that a night there. Thanks for listening, guys. If you've been catching up and watching AFCON, let us know who's your favourite team. I feel like it's one of the best international tournaments in the world because it's just so unpredictable. It is the beautiful game at its purest. Yeah. You see wonder goals. You see countries that you never expect to fly and do well, and then you got countries like Ghana who just let their fans down time and time again. The IU brothers should never get picked for national team again, ever. It's embarrassing now. You lot should not get picked. You don't do your jobs at all. It's just disgraceful. From being tournament favourites to out. There was a poor man in the stadium, and he had to stop eating his food because it lost its flavor. Because what he was seeing, the man was crying. The man was crying.
I'm gonna end up crying.
He had his food, and he just had to stop. It's like the food there's no flavor anymore. To the extent where the Ghana media blocked the Ghana national team bus on leaving the stadium because they weren't answers.
I saw that. I was laughing.
Are you not embarrassed? You should be ashamed. As for Nigeria, you can't talk too tough. You made it through, but just. So you don't need to fix up. So that's what I'm saying. Because Senegal might send you home next, and if they do, you know. But yeah, it's been a great tournament to watch. It's been very entertaining. Definitely recommend it. It's definitely better than watching some countries struggle to play football. But we'll be back next week for more coverage of the beautiful game. Peace.
Peace.